Hi guys, Tracy and Doss. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do a recap of my favorite show. For sure, I know now because it's just getting better and better. It's been my favorite show for a long time. I really am going to be sad to see the season end because it's just getting so juicy and also answering so many questions. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, I just wanted to say I have another channel. It is about true crime, and I'm going to link it at the very end and link it up top here. So if you love true crime, come follow me over there. Okay, so Tell Me Lies, episode 4, season 3. Diane is pregnant. And of course, she's desperate to make it go away because it's the devil spawned child of Steven, supposedly. I mean, that's so mean to say about the baby, not about Steven. Steven has clearly earned the title. Molly and Evan continue to hook up, and it's very clear she's really into him, even though she's pretending she's not, and he's just not that into her. He's obviously still in love with Bree, and this is just a hookup for him. And he even let Bree know last episode, so go ahead and check that out if you don't remember. He told Bree, just say the word and I'm yours. I loved that. During their hookup, she tells Evan that Diane is pregnant and not to tell Steven. He's like, what? This is some juice nobody knows about. I mean, I don't know if they knew that Diane and Steven had hooked up briefly the last semester. Probably not, but she's pregnant. We knew that. Lucy gets a daytime call from her booty call Alex to hook up, and she's shocked. I mean, she really didn't think he was that into her, and that's probably what made her more into him. That's kind of where she's at right now. And come on, who's not gonna like Lucy? Let's be real. She's absolutely gorgeous. That guy's not gonna miss an opportunity with a girl like that. Bree has been approached by her photographer teacher to be a part of a special photography exhibit. This is so exciting for her. I mean, she's got some really good news and she's so excited about it. My spidey senses tell me, I wonder if one of those photos of Oliver are going to somehow end up in the exhibit, but that's just my spidey senses. I could be wrong, but something tells me something's going to happen there. They said they need 6 stills and they need it by Monday, so we'll see what happens. Everyone thinks Bree is such an angel, but everyone has another side to them, and I am wondering when we're going to see that side of Bree. I mean, she is our little angel, but I think there's another side there coming out. Bree is on a high from her big news when she runs into Oliver for the first time after she sent the picture of her and Amanda to him. And he's not so happy about this. And he not so gently pulls her into his office to have a conversation. She tells Oliver that he shouldn't be hooking up with Amanda because she's so young. She's a freshman. And she told him that she told the dean about it. He's been hooking up with his students. And this confrontation will most definitely have dire consequences for Oliver. She's playing with fire and she's putting his livelihood in jeopardy. But Oliver calls her out. He knows she's lying because he's met with the dean and she didn't mention it, and so he calls her out and she is caught in a lie, and he turns on his manipulation and he is telling her how sad and disappointed he is that she is acting the way she is and it's not her fault. He calls her needy and insecure, knowing this is going to really bother her. And he says people who weren't loved enough during childhood don't know how to function in an adult relationship. I mean, what a jerk. Like, he knows how to function in an adult relationship. As a cheater. He tells her that people like her seek validation ad nauseum and they blow through people's boundaries. They're basically so desperate for love that they didn't get as kids that people have no choice but to eventually just leave them. He puts it in her head that that's why Evan left her. And she's starting to really take that on as it was her fault that her and Evan didn't work out. That it was something she was doing that made him pull away. Oliver's a manipulator, and he uses it against these children. He's supposed to be teaching. I'm surprised that Bree stayed in that office as long as she did, but then when she did try to leave, he totally tried to block her until he was done saying what he wanted to say, and then he finally let her go to show that he was in control, and he's always going to be in control of that relationship. I feel like she really still loves him or has strong feelings towards him, although I think her true love is Evan, and deep down she knows that. His manipulative tendencies around these kids is really actually quite dangerous. He should never be allowed to be a teacher. The interesting part of this interaction between the two is that he never denied having a relationship or fling with Amanda. When she called him out on it, he didn't say, "What are you talking about?" He kind of did, but not really. He didn't say, "I don't know what you're talking about. Amanda and I have never been together." He just went straight into, you poor thing, you're so troubled. Steve gets a call from his sister Sadie, and she lets him know that the tuition payment had gone through, and he actually smiles, which is something I haven't seen from Steven in quite some time. And he's so excited to have his sister on the phone, so he starts trying to talk to her about what's going on with her at school and her relationships, and she's not having any part of it. She remembers how he treated her, and she knows he's not safe. And she just said, "Look, I'm not doing this." And you could see him just deflate. I really think that's the only person that he really truly loves on this earth. And you can't put toothpaste back in a tube, you guys. Once you say something really mean and hurtful, that never leaves someone's brain. And I'm sure he wishes he was never mean to her, because really his feelings had nothing to do with Sadie. They had to do with Lucy and other things that were going on. But his hurtful words are still very much alive in Sadie's head, and she lets him know it, and good for her. Now, this next moment in the show is pivotal. Steven has been using the Lucy-Evan fling to punish both of them. Now Evan has his own information against Steven, and this changes everything. Evan tells Steven in front of Wrigley that Diane is pregnant, and Evan tells him not to worry because Diane already has an appointment scheduled to terminate the pregnancy, thinking that's gonna make Steven feel relieved, but it doesn't. It makes him pissed that she didn't tell him about the pregnancy. The conversation between Wrigley and Steven starts. It's very controversial, and it's a topic that a lot of people feel strongly about on both sides. The conversation is about what right a man has to be involved in the decision to terminate the life of his child. Wrigley doesn't believe he has any right. Even having that information about Diane being pregnant seems very unfair to Wrigley, and he says he shouldn't even have that information unless Diane wanted to give it to him. He shouldn't have some kind of say in this. It is his child, and Wrigley really feels it's her body and her choice. But what about his baby and his choice? I can argue on both sides of this controversial topic, as most of us should be able to do, because there's valid points on both sides. What are your thoughts about this? I'm sure everybody has some strong thoughts. Wrigley certainly does, and he doesn't think Diane needs Steven's permission. My favorite part of the conversation is when Steven tells Wrigley, "You were hooking up with 4 girls at the same time last semester, and now you're a feminist." It's pretty epic writing there on their part. Evan also says he would want to know if a girl that he was dating or seeing or having a fling with got pregnant. He would want that information. Now, Steven just flippantly tells Pippa, and then he angrily goes off to Diane's and confronts her. And Diane says she doesn't think it's any of his business. And she was really angry and cold with him. And he said, well, maybe this will bring you and your dad together and he can help us. Like, they're an us. They're not an us. And she sees how he's trying to make a passageway back to Diane's family's money. And she is so pissed about this. She knows it's nothing to do with the baby. And she sees right through him. And she tells Steven she is so excited to get rid of his baby and that it will be the highlight of her year. And that is so cruel. I mean, even though Steven is probably the worst person in the whole world, this is next level cruel. So apparently Diane has it in her too to be really nasty. Maybe this conversation is good for Lucy. Maybe he will focus his dark energy onto Diane and away from Lucy and give her a little bit of a break. But I don't know, because Lucy seems to be a relatively easy target for Steven, and she still has strong feelings for him, so it'll affect her more. And clearly Diane is over him, and he can see this with this conversation that she's not having any warm and fuzzy feelings about him anymore. Wrigley comes to pick up Pippa for a date, and she isn't there, so he hangs out a little while with Bree, and she tells him about her upcoming exhibit. They're in photography class together, and he is so excited for her, and he shows it. He gives her a big hug, and he's going to help her pick out pictures, and this is a cute exchange between the two of them. I mean, this friendship really blossomed since their Molly on the park bench situation. They've just really began to trust each other, which is really nice. The talk with Oliver infiltrates Bree's thoughts, making her more insecure, and which was his intention. It worked. He got into her head, and Wrigley tells Bree that Evan is still obsessed with her and that she didn't run him off. And he also tells her that Drew found her to be a little intimidating. Drew is Wrigley's brother who OD'd last season, and I love this vulnerable relationship that is building between the two of them, and hope they can just be great friends because they both need one right now. When Pippa pops in, she lies to Wrigley to get out of their plans so she can hang out with Diane. I do believe she believes Diane needs her right now because of the pregnancy, but she also just really has feelings for Diane, and she obviously just wants to be with her at all times. And this really magnifies the flaws in Wrigley and Pippa's relationship. But remember, Pippa's there because of what happened with Drew. The relationship with her and Diane had already started, and she just kind of felt like he needed her. Alex and Lucy meet up for a drink. Lucy opens up to Alex about her feelings and how she is just this bad person because Steven's put this in her head, how terrible she is. And she does realize that she treated her ex, Max, very badly, and she sees Max there on a date, and this is what sparks the conversation between her and Alex. And Alex says, "You should apologize." And she's like, "Yeah, I should." He goes, "No, you should just go do it right now. Just go apologize." And she does. She goes to the table in front of his date, and it's super awkward, but she makes him look good in front of that date, and she does apologize, and it's a heartfelt apology. And he, as awkward as it is and uncomfortable as he is, he takes it in. This relationship with Alex could actually have more benefits than just good sex, which is awesome in itself. But we'll see where this goes. I'm interested to see, because of course we just thought he was another Steven, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like he has a little more depth to him. Pippa asked Diane if she's pregnant, and Pippa actually is truly worried about her. Diane tells Pippa she is more worried about the argument she just had with Steven than anything, and she really said some harsh things to him, which wasn't really very smart, because Steven can be so vindictive, and she's worried about the repercussions of this. And everybody that knows him would also agree that she should be scared after what she said. He's just pure evil. It's terrifying. So she wants Pippa to spend the night because she's scared of him, and of course Pippa is like happy to. Diana says, let's talk about anything but Steven. They don't want to talk. So the makeout session begins, and it's hot and steamy, and these two together are fireworks. They belong together. There's such a great dynamic there. Lucy is sent back to the dean's office, and Katie Parker is there, and she is one of the women that was essayed by Chris Montgomery. Steven obviously contacted Katie about Lucy. She wants Lucy to also come forward so she can press charges against Chris. And Lucy doesn't want any part of it, because she actually wasn't the one that was sexually assaulted. It was Pippa. And she was just trying to get him in trouble because Pippa wasn't going to say anything. And now Steven's opened this whole can of worms. Lucy tells Katie she doesn't want to be a part of the lawsuit. And Oliver's wife approaches Lucy and tells her she needs someone to talk to, be happy to talk to her. And this infuriates Lucy because of what Oliver and his wife did to her best friend Bree. So she just basically tells her to F off. A group on the internet is formed called Chris is a, and it says he assaulted Katie and Lucy. And so it spreads like wildfire. It gets back to Pippa and Bree. Well, Pippa knows the truth already, and Bree doesn't. So Bree starts to tell Lucy she's so sorry. She's been so self-absorbed in her own problems that she didn't even know this happened. And Lucy's just like, I don't want to make a big deal of this. I want this to go away. So Lucy calls Diane and meets up with her to talk about this, because Lucy can't really talk to anybody about this but Diane. And she just wanted to protect Pippa, and now all this has come about. And she tells Diane about the blackmail tape. She just tells her to not react, because it's making everything worse. And that's what Steven wants. He wants you to react. And look what he's done to you. He's gotten you to do even more things, because he's so diabolical. The truth is, if you don't know what to do in a situation, you just don't do anything. And that's what Diane's telling her to do. Just don't react. You should just wait. Often the answers will come to you in time, and being reactive can be very dangerous. We've all experienced that, and typically it ends badly. With all of these men around Bree making such bad decisions, and her talk with Wrigley, it leads Bree right back to Evan. He loves her so much and always had. He made a mistake, and he wants to make it up to her. So the show moves forward to the wedding day in 2015, and it's so beautiful. The chemistry between the two is heartwarming. I'm afraid for the shoe to drop. Lord knows Steven has tried to ruin this relationship. First, Steven approaches Lucy at the wedding, and Pippa tells Lucy, if you need me, blink twice, which is pretty funny. Stephen is shocked when Lucy isn't all that upset that he shows up at the wedding with Lydia after they just hooked up. Her attitude is one of ambivalence, and we all know that the opposite of love is not hate, it's ambivalence. If someone treats you like they don't care about you anymore, that's pretty final. Stephen is still just as unhappy as ever, and he cannot move forward. He is stuck in the past with all of this rage, and he sees people moving on and being happy, and it's driving him crazy. He just needs to find a way to blow everybody's lives up. Bree lets Stephen know in no uncertain terms at the bar that she knows he sent the message about Lucy and Evan, and that she would never let one simple mistake keep her from the man she loves and her best friend. And then there's the moment I've been waiting for, something to insinuate that our little Bree is not such an innocent angel. And that moment has come. There is some eye contact between Bree and Wrigley that Stephen notices. And then Stephen picks up Wrigley's phone and looks at his messages, and there's all of these messages, one after the other from Bree. And it looks like he might have some new information to use against his friends. Remember, if Stephen isn't happy, then no one should be happy. And I am so looking forward to this next episode. It's going to be really good. And I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to do something. All right, guys, I hope that I see you all soon. Go ahead and check me out on my other channel. It's about true crime and true crime documentaries. I'll link it at the end. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.